Summit today is a culmination of 2 days of work by the Ministers of Agriculture and the Ministers of Foreign Affairs. Today, the heads of state of Africa, of the African Union, will adopt a new continental policy framework for agriculture. It will succeed the Malabo framework. 10 years ago, our heads of state and government met in Equatorial Guinea, Malabo, and adopted a 10-year strategy. They had done so the other year. So every year, the continent reviews its policy, just like we review as Uganda the National Development Plan. You hear NDP 1, NDP 2. So this is now CAADP, will be Kampala CAADP. So we will be looking at what wasn't so achieved in the previous framework and what we should need to continue with. Yes, the issue of governments prioritizing 10% of their public expenditure to agriculture continues to come up. And even in this new policy framework, it's being repeated that the leaders must commit to funding agriculture to a tune of 10%. If our budget is 50 trillion, that means 5 trillion must go to support the agricultural value chain activities. The other commitment we are having in this new declaration is that by the year 2035, 10 years from now, we should have zero hunger. No African should die of hunger. We must produce, we must balance our production. Commercial farming must not compromise food security. So we must have a balance. We must balance food security, animal feed security, as well as nutrition security and commercial livelihood security. So really, this policy blueprint will help us as Uganda in particular to check on our own domestic policies. How do they rhyme? How do they compare with the continental yardstick? So the CAADP, which is the continental policy, is a yardstick, is a policy measure. It's the gold standard for a good policy of any country. So the heads of state will be committing to go back to their countries, as well as their ministers of agriculture and others, to domesticate this into their plans, to domesticate this and integrate it into their development plans and their agricultural policies.
Yes, Honorable, the issue
for me is a solution to some of those challenges. We are discussing marketing. Yesterday we had a meeting of foreign affairs ministers. Why foreign affairs ministers? Because foreign policy of every country, the first ingredient of foreign policy is external trade. So we are trying to emphasize that if your foreign policy continues to preserve barriers to trade, to free movement of goods, then it's a bad policy. It's anti-Africa. It's anti the common strategy. So the discussions now are calling for dismantling of all trade barriers. And really, I hope, if people can walk the talk, East Africa trades with West Africa fully, our agriculture will go to another level. Why agriculture in particular? Because the biggest of our exports as Uganda, close to 55%, is agriculture. And so is another country, and so is another country. Thank you.